The music echoed through the luxury mansion in Malibu, where chandeliers glittered like frozen stars and the pool shimmered under soft blue lights. The guests were dressed in designer gowns, trading empty compliments and raising champagne flutes as if the night belonged to them. Amelia Hayes stood quietly near the edge of the garden, her hands resting gently on her 7-month pregnant belly. She had always felt out of place at her husband's elite parties. The gold, the noise, the shallow conversations, none of it belonged to her world. But she loved Michael once, back before the millions and the lies changed him. Tonight, he was the farthest from her. Michael strode through the party like he owned the air itself, a proud grin on his face as he entertained investors and celebrities. Standing beside him was Sabrina Lane, the woman half the guests whispered about behind their glasses. Stunning, young, manipulative, the mistress everyone pretended not to notice. Whenever Sabrina's sharp eyes found Amelia, they lingered with a smirk that cut deeper than any knife. Amelia felt the baby kick gently inside her. "It's okay," she whispered. "Mom is here." She walked toward the pool to get a breath of air away from the noise, unaware that her life was about to change in a way she could never have imagined. Inside, Sabrina leaned closer to Michael, her voice sweet but poisonous. "Why do you still let her stay? She embarrasses you. She drags you down. Look at her, standing there like a scared little mouse. She doesn't belong in your world." Michael's jaw tensed, not in defense of his wife, but in irritation that Sabrina was stirring his emotions again. She knew exactly what strings to pull. "You want to impress your guests tonight," she whispered. "Show them you're in control. Show them what power looks like." He frowned. "What do you mean?" She tilted her head, her red lips curling. "Push her into the pool. Lighten the mood. Make it look like a joke. People will laugh, and she'll understand her place." Michael hesitated only a breath. Pride had long replaced the love he once had. And Sabrina knew that too well. He set his drink down and walked toward the pool. Amelia didn't see him until he was feet away. She turned, surprised. "Oh, Michael, I didn't know you were." Before she could finish, his hands struck her shoulders with a sudden force she never saw coming. A sharp gasp escaped her lips. Her foot slipped. She fell backward into the water. A splash cracked through the party. Gasps filled the air. 10 people rushed toward the pool's edge, but no one jumped in. Champagne glasses froze mid-air. Laughter died instantly. For a moment, the world held its breath. Underwater, Amelia fought to orient herself. The weight of her dress dragged her down. Panic gripped her chest. She wasn't a strong swimmer, and the baby kicked violently in fear. Her lungs burned as she struggled to push upward. When her face finally broke through the water, she coughed hard, desperate for breath. Michael stood still. Sabrina smiled as if watching a movie. No one offered help. Amelia's body trembled with shock as she clung to the pool stair railing and pulled herself out, drenched, shaking, humiliated. Her dress clung to her skin, revealing her pregnant belly to dozens of staring eyes. A woman near the bar whispered, "Oh my God, did he really just?" Another murmured, "She could have drowned." But still no one moved. The cold air stung her skin as tears mixed with pool water on her cheeks. She looked at her husband, searching for humanity, for apology, for anything. Michael simply shrugged. It was a joke. "Calm down." Amelia felt something inside her break. A silence deeper than any scream settled in her heart. She steadied herself, turned, and walked away without a word. Outside the mansion gates, her breath shook. She wrapped her arms around her belly. "No more," she whispered. "Not for me, not for you." She called a rideshare and left. The place she once called home. She didn't know where she was going, only that she couldn't stay. Hours later, she ended up at a small roadside diner, the kind with neon lights flickering in soft blue and red. The warmth inside felt like a different world compared to the cruelty she had just escaped. The kind-eyed waitress brought her a blanket and warm tea without asking questions. Amelia didn't sleep that night. She kept replaying the moment in her mind, her own husband pushing her, watching her drown, laughing as the world judged her. The next morning, she visited the only person she could trust, her childhood friend, Ethan Clark, a former firefighter who now ran a community shelter for struggling women. Ethan had always been her quiet protector during their teenage years, the one who taught her how to stand tall even when the world trembled beneath her feet. When she walked into his office, soaked eyes and trembling voice, Ethan froze. "Amelia." What happened to you? Everything spilled out in broken words. The push, the fall, the humiliation, the fear for her baby. By the time she finished, Ethan's hands were clenched so tightly his knuckles turned white. "You're staying with me," he said firmly. "You and the baby are safe here. I won't let anyone near you." Amelia broke into tears, not from sadness but from finally being believed. Days passed, and Ethan helped her file a restraining order, gather her documents, and prepare for life beyond the mansion's shadows. He even arranged medical checkups to ensure the baby was healthy. Each time the doctor placed the monitor on her belly, the tiny heartbeat reassured her she had made the right choice. Meanwhile, news of the party leaked. Guests whispered. Videos surfaced. Someone had recorded everything: the push, the splash, the untouched guests, the mistress's smirk. Within days, social media erupted with outrage. Millionaire pushes pregnant wife into pool. Humiliation caught on camera. Where is Amelia Hayes? Michael's team tried to spin it. It was a joke. She slipped. He even tried blaming Amelia for being dramatic. But the internet wasn't buying it. When Sabrina tried posting a selfie, thousands flooded her comments with fury. The glamorous life she adored crumbled overnight. Michael's investors quietly backed away. Sponsors withdrew. Clients refused deals. He called Amelia dozens of times, each call unanswered. A week later, Amelia stood outside the courthouse, preparing to file for divorce. Ethan stood beside her like a shield of calm strength. She didn't need revenge, she needed freedom. Michael arrived moments later, looking nothing like the confident millionaire from the party. His face was tired, stressed, desperate. "Amelia, please, we can fix this. I didn't mean." She lifted her hand gently, stopping him. "You didn't push me because of a joke," she said softly. "You pushed me because you stopped loving me a long time ago." He swallowed hard. "Please, let me." "No, Michael. I'm choosing my child's future. And I'm choosing myself." She turned and walked inside the courthouse, leaving him standing on the steps alone. Weeks later, Amelia began rebuilding her life, living at the shelter, surrounded by women who knew pain but also knew resilience. She learned new skills, joined support groups, and found strength she never realized she had. Ethan was always nearby, not to replace Michael, not to rescue her, but to remind her she wasn't broken. Months passed, and on a quiet spring morning, Amelia gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Ethan held the tiny newborn with tears in his eyes, unable to hide his joy. "She's perfect," he whispered. Amelia smiled, exhaustion softening her features. "She is. And she'll grow up knowing love, safety, and kindness." The courtroom incident, the party humiliation, the cruelty, they all became chapters she no longer needed to revisit. She had walked through fire and survived. And now her life glowed with a